And joining us, another sweetie, Ricki McKenna, joining us from the great state of Texas. Hi, Ricki.
Good afternoon, morning, evening, wherever you are. Thank you for having me. And I've got
I
flowers.
like,
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
all right, get them. I like your blue and the orange, Ricki. I like how they complement each
I
other.
just don't
Very
have room on my coat top here.
beautiful. Beautiful. Well, I'd like to show you what I have because I think this is quite fascinating. I have a lean cuisine. Yes, that is what I have right here. That is what
Who is this person?
I have no time to cook or prepare, but I'm loving what you guys are doing. So this is an important show because it's the United Kitchens from different parts of the world, and yet we can all enjoy food. So I'm excited. Simon, what will you be preparing today?
Well, as I said earlier, it is Sweet Friday, so winter's coming on. What kid doesn't love ice cream? I still do. I must be still a kid. I'm a big kid, very big kid. But I'm going to show you how to make the simplest ice cream ever. It takes moments to do it, and even the kids can do it, and they will love the end result as well. But I'm taking it a step further because I will show you a dish using the ice cream and a hot butterscotch sauce and flambéed with Cointreau and pineapples. Again, sounds exotic, simple to do, stunning to taste.
Woo, sounds amazing. I can't wait. Ricki, what will you be preparing today?
Well, I'll be doing two sweets. One of them is kind of a savory sweet, and the other is a sweet sweet. We're going to be doing sweet potato brownies, which are vegan actually, and they're gluten free. Because we have so many people here in the U.S., I'm sure you do there as well, who are conscious about the gluten thing and the dairy-free thing. And then we're going to stuff a pumpkin.
Woo! All right. This is exciting. I've never actually created any of these things, so I'm looking forward to it. So without further ado, we're going to turn it over to Simon, and Ricki and I will be backstage cheering you on and watching everything that you're doing.
Yes.
All right. Hey. Right. Hello, everybody, once again, and welcome to my kitchen, Scottish kitchen. Tonight, we're doing a very simple ice cream. The ingredients is double cream, of course, never use single cream. We've got condensed milk, tin condensed milk. It's all right to use a tin now and again in the kitchen. And we have an egg. We just use the egg white and a little bit vanilla extract. You can use vanilla pod. Don't use vanilla essence because that's really not a real vanilla. It's just a flavoring. But vanilla extract, it's the real deal. It's beautiful. So first, what we do is the condensed milk, which again is out of a tin, just into a bowl like that. Just use it all. There's about just over half a pint there. Now this is a one type of recipe. So it's 1 can of condensed milk and 1 small double cream, which is just over half a pint in US money, or 330 mils in money here. So we just add that in like that. That's about it there. And then we'll just get rid of that one because otherwise I'm going to get covered in sticky stuff. And about 1 teaspoonful of the vanilla extract. That's a good 1 teaspoonful. And 1 egg. But it's the egg white. So what we do, we crack the egg into your fingers. Oh, the kids will love this. It's nice and messy and gooey. Yee! So that's it. And just dribble through the fingers and you've got the white in there. There we are. Just mop my paws off. And then you simply mix that together. And once you've mixed it all together, you whack it into the freezer. It's as simple as that. It is the easiest thing in the world. You don't need to bother with ice cream making machines and all the time and fluff that it takes to do other ice creams. This is the easiest one, and it's actually the tastiest ice cream you could imagine. Now, if you want to get ambitious with this, you could add in chopped strawberries, raspberries, almonds, anything you like to give it that bit of flavor. Glassy cherries, beautiful in this as well. Just gives it that bit extra. Crushed up biscuit as well. Give texture to it. Amazing. Now that's really all the mixing up you need to do. And that's it. So I'll just save that one aside. It's the yolk. I can use that in other dishes as well. Mashed potato. Put egg yolk into when you're mashing potato. Lovely. Gives texture and just gives that extra bit of flavor. So here we go. Pour it into container. That's good guesswork because I hadn't tried it into this container before, but it looked about right. And if it looks about right, it probably is. So just sit that aside there. The lid goes on. And I'll pop it into the freezer. This is the hard bit now, not having a go at it until it's properly set. That's the difficult bit because this is so yummy, you would not believe it. So I'll just sit that there just now. And what we're going to do now to just give it that little bit of extra to make a really nice dish out of it, I'm going to put some heat on here in the good old trusty pan. And to make this dish, we've got butter and brown sugar. And this brings the butterscotch sauce together. We've got cream to add to it. We've got pineapple ring. Pineapple ring's beautiful with this. This really makes it sing. And Cointreau, lovely orangey liqueur, delicious. And I'm going to have a bit of fun and pyrotechnics there. Because the Cointreau, we're going to flambe that off, I hope. There we go. So butter in first, a good knob of butter, and we let that melt down. And getting myself going. That's great. So just while that settles down, the next thing that will go in is the sugar and the pineapple, and then we add the Cointreau. Secret ingredient. It gives this lovely orangey flavor. Now, who would believe you could have a hot sauce with a cold ice cream? It works so beautifully. It really does. It's a lovely combination. That's the butter just about all melted in there now. It's starting to bubble. You don't want it to go too long, otherwise you finish up and it's burnt, and it's just not quite so nice that way. But once the butter has melted, there we go. And it's just starting to bubble that little bit. Well, just add in some brown sugar. We'll just stir that around a bit. And this is the basis of your butterscotch sauce. The brown sugar, demerara sugar, really works best because there's a richness of flavor into the demerara sugar. There we go. Now, some people wonder, how have I got the heart to pour alcohol into a dish and then burn it off? I mean, my goodness. But alcohol doesn't taste so good when you're actually cooking it. There we go. That's it. It saves on the central heating bills in the house, you know. You've got to, oh, lovely. Keeping the hands warm. So that's there. We'll just pop in the 2 pineapple rings. There we go. That's them. And just let them saute off. Nice French words which I'm using there. Oh, that's it. There we are. And please see how simple this is, how easy it is to make, and how quick it is to make. So just flip the pineapple rings over. So they're just done nicely on both sides. You don't need to actually deep fry them or anything like that. You know, it's just to warm them up a bit. We're adding cream now. Yeah. Who cares about the calories? Enjoy your food. That's what it's all about. So there we are. So now we've got this. Oh, God, the smell's coming off here. I'm quite sure you could just about smell them on the other side of the Atlantic. Oh, it is delicious, this. And again, it's a sauce. The alcohol's burned out of it, so don't worry about the kids getting into it. other than at the moment it's just a little bit too hot. So that's just bubbling away there. The ice cream. Oh, here we are. The one I prepared earlier. And so we just put a nice dollop of that. Delicious ice cream. Oh, the texture of it, the flavors of it, absolutely sensational. So whack that into the middle of the plate there. And then here we go. So one pineapple ring over there like that. Another pineapple ring on as well because I'm hungry. And we'll just spoon some of this delicious sauce over the rest of it. I'm going to save that for later because that is so tasty. You just wouldn't believe the flavors that come off of that. Just top a little bit of a little bit of mint on the top just to make it pretty. And there we go. Just wipe the edge of that. That is a delicious and simple pudding that has the flavors that you would not believe. Enjoy. I will.
Simon, I can't believe how quickly you made that.
It's easy. It's a lovely simple one. And the combination of the flavor and the coldness of the ice cream with the richness of that butterscotch sauce and the heat from it as well. It's a delight on the mouth, real delight in the palate. And with the pineapple, yes, they're sweet, but there's a slight sharpness will come over the back there as well and just kills a little bit of the sugary effect. But this is pudding heaven.
I wanted to ask you, you had mentioned that we could put biscuit in there as well?
You can do all sorts of things. When you're making the ice cream, biscuit, I've known people to use banana, a bit odd, biscuit, soft fruits, strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, cranberries even. It gives it a real zing. All sorts of things. But biscuit in it gives a crunch. Delicious.
It looks fantastic.
Simon,
Yeah.
I'm a coffee ice cream. I love it. Absolutely love coffee ice cream. Would you use
chocolate in it? Chocolate powder.
I would assume you'd use instant coffee or maybe instant espresso.
Yeah, you could do. Yes, there's no reason why not.
Oh, I think that would be wonderful. That's so quick. I can't believe it.
It's amazing.
It is amazing.
And the kids can make it. I wouldn't let them go with flambeing off the contour, but the ice cream itself, kids love making this sort of thing. I remember going into, when I first moved back to Scotland from the south of France, there was opening a bank account, and I was standing in the bank, and somebody recognized me from a television show I'd done years ago. And they said, do you know a good recipe to make ice cream? So I said, yeah. So I told them all about this idea here. And the whole bank, all the staff, bank manager even came out, and they're all writing down notes as well. So the whole town must have been dining on this ice cream. It's the easiest in the world. It's so delicious.
Fantastic. Simon, just so you know, I did go ahead and post on all the social media how people can contact you to get the recipe.
That's why my email's been busy today.
So that was brilliant. I didn't even get to finish my artificial frozen TV dinner. That was so fast.
Well, I can actually fill in the rest if you like.
Ricki, can you imagine somebody actually mentioning on a quality food show like this, frozen TV dinners? We'll
have to pull her aside backstage, Simon.
Welcome to my world. That's tomorrow. Tomorrow I get to have real food, which is wonderful. But thank you, Simon. That was a beautiful presentation.
Wonderful.
Oh,
really
nice.
Another question. What type of pan what type of pan did you use for flambeing? Was it a copper pan or?
Yeah, I've got a lovely set of copper pans. These are the full set. The whole pan is actually 3-ply. They're made by a company called Kerbeck. They're quite hefty, but they do wonderful pans, and I love these pans. I mean, I've had several sets from Stellar. They used to sponsor me years ago.
Oh, lovely.
And I've kept these copper ones because they are an absolute joy to cook with. They're hell to clean. I mean, but there is actually a very simple cream that you can use to clean them, and it makes life a breeze. Yeah. But they are a joy to use. They really are.
Well, copper retains.
It's not as if they're non-stick. They're steel. But when you get a new set of pans, put oil in them, and then put the heat on and burn them. Really give them, as they would say here, give them the welly, give them the full heat until you get the oil starts smoking off, and then let them cool down naturally and get rid of the oil. And that's what's called sizing the pan.
Yes.
And you can use it forevermore, and it won't stick then. It's perfect.
Mm-hmm. That's an excellent tip. That's some of the
things it is.
That I tell some of my clients and my audience as well. They need these tips because people don't understand, why is this stuff sticking in the pan,
That's it, exactly. And yeah, I mean, these sort of things, the manufacturers themselves should point these out as well. It's,
yes.
When you buy your pans, they should say, before you use them, put the oil in. And this is particularly important if you buy cast iron pans.
Yes.
Cast iron pans seem to be making a bit of a revival. But when you burn something onto a cast iron pan, it's welded on, basically. Mm-hmm. So you have to size them with the oil and let it burn, let the oil get to its sort of its smoking, and then let it cool down, clean the pan out, and that's it. And you can clean the pan with detergent after that, and it won't affect it, it won't spoil it.
Yeah. Now, that's an excellent suggestion.
Thank you, Simon. Another gem that you dropped today. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's unusual for me not to be cooking with fish.
Yeah. I don't think I'd like fish ice cream.
No, I don't think so either.
No.
A very famous chef here in the UK, Hester Blumenthal, has actually done it. And apparently it's supposed to taste nice. But I presume that was somebody who'd lost their taste buds a while ago.
That's for another show. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to head over to Ricki McHealthy McKenna to your kitchen and see what you've got going there.
Thank you. All right. Welcome to Texas. And we do have a beautiful day. We've got some wonderfully cool weather, and I'm planning on running out on my bicycle after this as soon as I speak with my publisher, because my book is going to be published soon. I have a book that's a combination of information, nutrition information, and food information, and about 20 or 30 recipes. I'm not sure which. But at any rate, we're going to start today with stuffing a pumpkin. And I'm going to stuff it with homemade applesauce. And I thought that I would I'm going to take this guy out of the way and pick up my peppermill. What I've done is I did make homemade applesauce, and you can take any kind of apples. I use Fuji, and I cut them up, and I don't peel. I don't care what the recipe says. My recipe says scrub, don't peel. So what we're doing today is stuffing this little baby pumpkin, this is a pie pumpkin, with a combination of the homemade applesauce and some chopped up bite-sized apple. It's a great combination. And when I make my applesauce, I usually use apples and a little bit of water and a couple of cinnamon sticks, and that all boils together for about 35 or 45 minutes, depending on actually your range and your altitude. When I was in Colorado cooking, we had to cook things for a little bit longer because of the thinness of the air. But down here in good old Texas, we can cook this for about 45 minutes. So I'm taking my combination of homemade applesauce and the chopped up apples, but first I'm going to season the inside because this is going to be actually a sweet and savory pumpkin. So I'm taking salt and making sure I get it on the sides. And by the way, what I found is the best way to clean out all the gooey stuff from a pumpkin is to use a grapefruit spoon because it's serrated and it helps to pull out all those gooey, stringy things. Just my tip for today. And I'm going to put some more salt in all around. And I'm using the kosher salt because it's kind of chunky. So we make sure we get it in there. Excuse me. And then I'm going to grind some pepper in. I saved this one from Halloween. No, not really. Okay. So we've got salt and pepper on the inside of the pumpkin. And we're going to take the homemade applesauce and the pieces of apple. It's about a cup. And the pumpkin is a pie pumpkin that weighs about 2.25 pounds. And I don't know what that equates to in kilos or grams, but I think it's probably about 250 grams. I'm not sure. At any rate, now, this does not completely fill the pumpkin, and I'll see if we can show that. It's down there about halfway up. And one of the things that I've learned when you cook a pumpkin and you put something in it, especially something like whole apples, they will expand. So we're going to take a greased baking pan and just put my little pumpkin right in the middle of it. And my oven is at 350. And I'm going to fit the top back on if I can. Here's our puzzle. There it is. Now, when you open the oven later and leave it alone, the top may have moved, but that's okay. Oops. Let's use this one. No, let's not. Okay. I'm going to center the pumpkin in the middle of the pan. And my oven is at 350. And my other oven is at 3.25 because now we're going to make some brownies. And these brownies are made with sweet potato. And I baked my sweet potato, and here's another little hint for cooking. Before you put your potato in to bake, and I wrap this in foil and put it in the oven, slice it right across the middle, all the way around, so that when it comes out, to remove the skin, all you do is that. And that's a little bit of the core. And the other side should come off just as easily. It's really very simple, much easier than peeling first, which I normally wouldn't do with sweet potatoes. And you can either discard this or enjoy it, chomp on it. It's full of fiber and vitamins. And there we have a naked sweet potato. And I'm going to take a fork and mash that. Make sure it's cooked thoroughly so that it mashes easily. And you can either do it in your microwave, which actually makes the skin a bit tougher to get off, I think. So that's why I use my regular oven. And it mashes quite easily. And we are now going to add 3 eggs. I don't know how you cracked that in your hand before, Simon. My eggs are really tough skinned, so I'm going to just do it that way. I have to learn that one. All right. Whoops. We almost got it on the table. All right. And I'm just going to give my hands a rinse. And mix that in. Or you can beat the eggs separately in another bowl if you like. But I like to do everything together because it saves time and it also saves cleanup. So I've got my sweet potato and my eggs, and I'm going to mix them as thoroughly as I can. Actually, one of the things I found that works even better than a big fork is a whisk. So we've got sweet potato and egg, and we are now going to add a 1/4 cup of melted coconut oil. And you can use MCT oil, which comes in a bottle that's already liquefied. Make sure we get that thoroughly mixed in. Let's see, and next comes, the recipe that I'm using actually calls for a 1/4 cup of honey. And that's way too much as far as I'm concerned, because we're very sugar conscious here. So what I'm going to do is use my honey, and I'm going to take a tablespoon and maybe a bit more. We'll see what pours over. Aha, okay. Lovely. And I'm going to mix my honey in there. Well, not my honey, he's upstairs. But good old Charlie's raw, wonderful honey. And so I've got pretty much of a liquidy batter right now with the eggs and the sweet potato and the honey, to which I am going to add a mixture of, let's put our honey over here. And I'm going to get my coconut flour and put in 3 tablespoons. And they're pretty level, so make sure you kind of level them off. And then I'm going to take my baking powder, and I'm going to mix the coconut flour in very carefully so it is thoroughly mixed. And I'm going to take my baking powder and the rest of my dry ingredients and mix them up in a different bowl. Let's see, and we need, oh goodness, a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. And believe it or not, that 1/4 teaspoon is very important because it helps the brownies to rise. And these don't rise as much as some other brownies because there is no, it's a different combination of things. Now here's where we need 3 tablespoons of, 2. We're going to level that off a little bit, although I love the cocoa powder. This is unsweetened baking cocoa powder. And we're going to do 2 tablespoons. And I'll bet if you wanted to, Simon, you could put this into your ice cream. That might be good. And it calls for, I think, just a teaspoon of cinnamon. No, actually a 1/4 teaspoon, but I happen to love cinnamon, so we're just going to shake. And of course, if you like cinnamon, you can add as much as you like. And I'm also going to make this a little more savory by adding just a sprinkle of cumin. There we go. And I'm going to use this to mix it up. Actually, I like mixing with the whisk, especially dry ingredients. Well, I have to use the baby. Having all different size whisks is very important because you never know where you're going to have to fit that little guy. And so we've got our dry ingredients here. And usually you can also mix the coconut flour in here as well. And of course, we need a little salt, just a bit. Just a wee bit. That's even less than a pinch. And mix that thoroughly. And then comes the fun part. Chocolate chips. And I've got about a 1/4 cup of chocolate chips. And you can use semi-sweet or you can use dark chocolate. Dark chocolate is probably preferable. But this time I'm using the semi-sweet because it is the brownies and I wanted to make them a little bit sweeter than I would normally think. Okay, and we're going to take our dry ingredients at about half of that and mix it in to our brownie batter, which you'll see in a second. Let me show you how it mixes up. And it smells divine. I think between the sweet potato and the chocolate, it's yummy. I'm going to take the rest of my dry ingredients and thoroughly mix that in. And make sure you get everything out of the whisk while you're doing it. I think Dr. Jacalyn decided that we could do a comedy cooking show. I hope it's entertaining as well as it tastes good. And here we have an absolutely beautiful chocolate batter for brownies. And I'm going to take my favorite little spatula because I want to get every single bit of this and get it to where it's a very thick batter. So don't expect it to be like pancake batter or a runny cake batter. It's not, it's a brownie batter. So it's quite thick. And we're going to take, I'm going to put it into a 6x8 Pyrex baking dish so that it's about 2 inches high, which I'm going to grease using good old wax paper and coconut oil. And make sure to grease up the sides of the dish as well. You can use a baking dish like the one that I put the pumpkin in, but I prefer to use the glass because it's pretty and I can watch the progress. And with this recipe, the brownies don't come out as thick as brownies might. So make sure you get the corners, by the way, when you're greasing. All right. And then we're going to layer the batter in, starting at one end, going through the middle. And you can see how thick it is. And it's quite simple because there's not really a lot of ingredients. Oh, by the way, if you like, you can take some of the chocolate chips and then before it's baked, while I'm doing this, after I finish getting it to all the corners, I think you can see that I'm spreading it out quite evenly. And if you like, you can use a piece of wax paper or a piece of parchment paper to actually flatten the top. But I think it's much more fun if it has a little texture. And they will come out just about the way you see it here. And I'm going to see about how thick they'll be. I'm going to make sure that I get it evenly spaced. And the chips are running through it. And I could add, I'm going to make it just really pretty. There we go. Now it will rise a teeny bit, but really not a lot. So the brownies will be about, I would say they're about 3/4 of an inch thick. And we'll pop it in the oven. And we'll time it at about 30 minutes. And of course, in about 30 minutes or a little before that, about 25 minutes, I would take a toothpick and open it up and put the toothpick through it to see if it comes out clean. Then they're actually finished. And if they look a little bit underdone at 25 or 30 minutes, that's okay. You can remove them, let them cool, and put them in the refrigerator for a little bit, and they will settle before you attempt to cut them. And here we have the finished product. As you can see, they're not very thick, but they're more fudgy and then cakey. And they come apart beautifully, and I have to tell you, they taste great. And what I would do to serve them, I would whip up a little whipping cream, which I'm not going to do right now, and just serve them with a little tiny dollop on each. Or can anybody else think of some wonderful things we could do with that? So here we have the brownies. They're finished. And we have lots of time left. What I can do is show you how to, I can show you how to cut the pumpkin if you like.
Well, we actually have about 2 minutes left. So your timing was perfect.
Okay.
Absolutely perfect. They look delicious, by the way.
They are good. And they're kind of a cross between a fudge and a cake.
That's my favorite.
Interesting. Yep. They're thinner than normal than I've seen brownies, and there's little pieces of the sweet potato in there that comes through. And it's absolutely delicious because they're a sweet and savory flavor. So.
Yummy. And they sound like they would go really well with Simon's ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
They'd be great with
the ice cream. Yeah.
I thought you were going to suggest having the few extra chocolate chips left over, so that's something to keep you nourished while you're preparing the rest of the dish.
Well, I've already nourished myself with those, actually.
I think between us, we have probably fed the world or increased the waistline of the entire UK, USA, and probably every other country that's watching tonight as well.
Well, the one thing, though, that I did do with the brownies, I only used about a heaping tablespoon of the sweetener, the honey, rather than putting in 1/4 of a cup. And I have found that in most recipes that I have ever read or created myself, especially with something like this where there's either fruit or chocolate, and that's the reason I didn't use the dark chocolate on these. These are semi-sweet chocolate bits, because there's way too much sugar added to most dessert recipes. So to make it a little more palatable for those people who are cutting back on their sugar, there we go.
Well, heaven help the people cutting back on the sugar trying this
No. You know, even as a nutritionist, I recommend to people that they don't deprive themselves. If there's something that you really, really love, and I happen to love ice cream, however, a pint of ice cream lasts me for over a month, because I just go in and I take a couple of little scoops and I put it back. And I guess I've disciplined myself to do that, but I do like cream in my coffee.
Oh, you're a hard taskmaster, you are.
Well, here's another alternative. I'll give you 3 seconds worth. You can add peanut butter to the batter, and I would add a little bit more oil as well. It's got to be kind of runny, mixable peanut butter, but that makes them peanut butter chocolate brownies.
You've given our audience so much to think about as we approach Thanksgiving. These are some wonderful recipes. Ricki, I also did put all of your contact information into the comments on all social media, so now people can find you and actually email you for the recipes. So
Yes.
Yay. So thank you, both of you, for being here. It's been another fabulous show. I appreciate all the effort that you take and all the care that you put into this. I know it's not easy to get this all prepared in time for the show, but you've done a brilliant presentation, both of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jacalyn, and thank you, Simon. It's been absolutely fabulous.
Oh, Ricki, I mean, how long do you think it'll take me to get to Texas?
Are you swimming?
You like ice cream, I like chocolate brownies. I mean, we're in the wrong place.
Well, we could meet somewhere in the middle, but we'd have to create an island, I think.
Get out your paddle boards now and start going.
That's a long way in the paddle board.
Yes, it is. Ricki, for people who can't read the comments because they're listening on Business Talk Radio, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Well, you can definitely email me at rickimckenna.com. That's RICKIMCKENNA.com. And there is a work in progress at this moment. It's called rickieskitchen.org, which will be my website. And that would be the usual HTTPS, rickieskitchen.org. And
All right.
on Patreon, Patreon as well, /Ricki McHealthy, as it is on the screen.
There it is. We've got it on all the social media platforms. You're on Facebook, you're on Twitch, you're on, so we've got 4 Facebook pages. All right, so it's all out there. Thank you. And Mr. Simon Macdonald, how can people get in touch with you?
Well, carrier pigeon, whatever, but email is actually, they're wrong there. It's MacDonaldSimon@ymail.com. MacDonaldSimon. You can't get the stuff these days, can you?
Yeah, that would be me. Okay, I got it from your email address. That was my mistake, folks. I will update it on all the platforms. So there you go. All right. Any final comments that you want to share?
Have a sweet and lovely weekend. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I echo that thoroughly as well. Yes. Enjoy the food and eat what you like. Just don't eat too much of it.
Exactly.
Exactly. Everything in moderation.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, both of you. I appreciate it.
I'll send you some brownies, Dr. Jacalyn.
Oh, okay. I look forward to that. Thank you.
Okay.
Now I know I'm living in the wrong country.
I don't know if they make it that far.
Probably not. Probably not. No. All right, everybody, let's say goodbye. We have another show coming up with the Queen of Feng Shui, Maritus Allen, joining us from London. We'll be right back after this. Thanks again, Ricki and Simon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.